Welcome back, Cougar fans, to another episode of the CougConnect Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Brandon, and today I am joined by a special guest, no pun intended, Sam Vander Haar of BYU. Sam, how you doing, man?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, thank you for coming on.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, we're right out the gates. We're coming at you like super hot. Take us inside the game-winning field goal, BYU versus Utah, the Holy War. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it was, a really cool experience and get the win and everything. But yeah, it's weird. I was, mentioning to you earlier that it was all like a bit of a blur, but it all felt a lot more calm than probably what it feels now, even thinking about it and like watching it on YouTube. Will and I always had this thing, like as the season progressed at least, that I would just like talk smack to him and like just throw out some banter. And I just knew that would put him in a frame of mind where he could just relax and just allow the muscle memory to take over. And I remember thinking, like, obviously in the end zone when all the stuff was happening with the flag, with JoJo and everything, I'm like, oh, okay, like, might be in a bit of strife here. And then I saw the ball go over to Chase, and I looked at Will, I'm like, oh, we're on here. Like,
yeah,
this is gonna, because I knew Will, like, 65 and in, we could get it done,
Yeah.
Obviously, 52 and in is probably a lot more comfortable, but I knew he had the leg to go a little bit further than that. So I think Chase caught it on maybe the plus 48, and I'm like, we only need a couple more yards here and we could get this done. And so I look at Will, and Will's just sitting there kind of, just meandering around like he was, and I was just like, all right, well, he looks pretty locked in, And then, yeah, we, obviously I saw Hinckley get that little bit of a run. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cake. Like, we're going to be fine. Like, this will be easy done. And then, yeah, I just remember looking at Will. I'm like, dude, like I said something stupid to him probably. And he laughed a little bit. And that's when the camera like got right on him. And then, yeah, as we're running out, I'm like, dude, we're about to make history. And, credit to Dalton, that UCF now, a really good snap. And the ball came in, I put it down. I knew it was good. Like, it's funny, like as a holder, I feel like you get a unique perspective because you can hear the contact. And obviously I know Will's speed and the approach to the ball. And, sometimes you can put it down and it's a little too slow. Like, I'll put it down a little too slow and he'll come through a bit quicker than I expect. But that one I put down, I felt like I could have sat down and just held it. Like, it felt like it had so much time, and he went through, and as soon as he hit it, I just looked up. I'm like, it's in. I was celebrating so early. I was jumping all over him, carrying on, and yeah, it was a sweet moment. But it's funny, like I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, it was pretty chill. But then I watch it now and I'm like, wow, there was a lot going on there, with the commentary and everything. So
yeah, us as fans, I mean, there's no automatics as a kick, going, but it's like, this is kind of it. We've been through all these strifes and had all these challenges throughout this game as it's gone on. There's plenty of them, and it all comes down to this. And is the moment going to be too big for him? You didn't see it on his face. Like you said, you saw on his face, he seemed like he's like, cool, let's go do this. But as a fan, you're just like buckled in.
No doubt. Yeah, and I always try and like watch it from the fan's perspective now in my pastime, I guess, just watching it back. But it's funny, I think back to, January, February, March, when you're in the grind of, heading into spring ball. And I remember we would have a speaker like this close to me holding, like as I was holding, and a big boondock speaker of a crowd noise just pumping in my ear. And we couldn't have prepared better for that moment. And it's just funny. I remember like going through spring, and we would always do run-ons, which is like game-like simulation. And it's funny, you look back now and I'm like, wow, like all that stuff. Because at the time you're like, is this actually going to happen in the game? Well, it happened twice, SMU and Utah. SMU is a bit different because it was a draw. So the psyche is a little bit different, where it's like, well, if he misses, at least we could still have a chance to win the game. Whereas with Utah, it's like, we miss, it's done.
Yeah.
So just as important, of course, but the psyche of me and Will and Dalton's a little bit different for both kicks for sure.
So talk to me. I know Will, because Trey was also around and had heard part of this too, and he told me about it. But they came and said, what hash do you want it on?
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, had you kind of lightened the mood with him before that? Or is Will always that confident? Like, tell me a little bit about that kind of moment.
Yeah, Will's definitely confident but not arrogant. So he's very aware of his ability to execute. But it's not in a way of like, just put it anywhere, man. Like, it doesn't matter. It's going in. It wasn't like that. It was like, look, whatever you guys want to do, I'm good. Like, because in his mind, and obviously like looking at it, it's wherever he lines up is kind of irrelevant because his steps are always straight. He always says that, right? So he could line up on the right hash, left hash, middle. The goals are always straight because he lines on the angle that's in line with the goal, if that makes sense. So I think he said to Pop, he was like, they were like, obviously popping. Everyone's like, oh, where do you want it, Will? And he's like, whatever, like just get me in range, and we'll be fine. And I was just like, yeah, Pop, doesn't matter. In the background, like, and Will's just laughing, like. So yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that the SMU kick might have been more, at least before the podcast we were talking, might have been more stressful for you guys than the Utah kick.
Yeah.
Tell me why that is.
Yeah, it's just because, it was earlier in the season. The familiarity of Will and I and Dalton was a little less because obviously I was a brand new holder. The SMU turf was interesting to kick on. So it was like, that was a factor too. And I was more nervous to do my job for that moment. That moment itself was probably, in hindsight, a little less nervous because, as I said, it was a draw type situation and we still had a chance to win the game. But in terms of like belief in my ability, was probably a little bit less at that time, just because I hadn't had that many game reps. I probably had 4 field goals at that point, 5 field goals. Whereas for the Utah one, it was like, okay, we've had a year to get, well, not a whole year, but
pretty much
7, 8 games in, whatever it was. Like, this will be fine. I was so comfortable at that point. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And did you ever hold at Pitt then?
No. So I had learned to hold the other kicker at Pitt, who wasn't the starter at the time. So I'd held for him, but I was very raw and I wasn't really taught that much. Whereas with Will, when I got there in January, he was borderline brutal of like teaching me exactly what he wants, which in hindsight was great because the more meticulous he was with me made his job easier, obviously, on game day. And so it's kind of like the old saying, like, aim small, miss small. And so with holding, it was like, if I can aim to be perfect, then my slightly off will still be very, very good because we'd, done so many reps. And yeah, Will was hard to work with initially in January, not personality-wise. We're really close, but he was very, very spot on about what he wanted.
Yeah.
And it made me respect it a bit because it meant to me that he knew his craft very well. But it also made me a better holder, And I remember saying, like, Will, like, before the season, I was like, dude, I feel beyond competent. I feel like, that I'm a very, very good holder now and I feel ready. And I think he thought that of me too. And that's probably why, he was always going to be successful, right, with his talent level. But you need to have a good operation for him to go out and execute. There's plenty of good kickers out there who miss a lot, and that can be attributed to things like that too.
Yeah. Dude, you're talking about holding everything. Have you ever seen Ace Ventura?
No, I haven't.
It's about a kicker who decides he wants to kill a quarterback because he held the ball wrong with the laces facing in instead of facing out.
Uh-huh.
Is Will a laces in or a laces out guy?
Will was a laces out guy, and he would also probably kill me if I had laces in. So
you can relate to this.
I can relate to it.
It's a comedy. It's not it's not as dark as it sounds.
Yeah, no.
But it's good to know, everyone at home. Will is laces out. So
that's it.
You can look for that on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come to BYU. I do want to talk about that. We'll kind of circle back to that, but I want to talk about your punting. Because, when you first got here, we had Ryan Rico, and he has one of the biggest legs in the country. He's showing that in the NFL now. But I feel like as a punter, you're not always trying to kick the ball as far as you can on every time that you're up there. And it obviously depends on where you're at. Maybe if you're all the way backed up, maybe you are. I don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
But you can break it down for us. But how does K-Pop, what is his philosophy behind like punting? And what does he look for with that? Is it just kick as far as you can and we'll cover, or how does he kind of approach this?
Yeah, so the way that there's a lot of tactics and efficiency involved with punting, particularly our scheme. It's all very good and well to hit a ball 60, 70 yards, but if it comes back 40, then you've netted, 20, 30 something yards, which is obviously not ideal. And so I had a conversation early on with Pop and Kalani that it was sort of like, look, if you can hit 42 to 48 fair catch every single time, yes, to the naked eye, it may look boring, but if you're netting 42 to 48 every single punt and we have limited return yards, not only does it help us win, we get good field position and, you'll be one of the top punters in the country. So it's one of those things where it's like, it hurts the ego in the sense that you want to go out and roost it.
Yeah.
But am I roosting it for me or am I roosting it for the team? And so it's like, I can go out and load up on a punt and hit it 55 plus, but if it comes back 20, then I've only actually got us 35 yards downfield. It
hurts the team, but also hurts your average too. It hurts both of you in the end.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like net punting wins. It's not gross to have a good gross is great, But does that help the team? Probably not. And that's why I think a lot of, at least very high-end special teams coaches and units really focus on the net. And so our team goals are 42 net. And so it was kind of like one of those things where if I can just go out and almost be boring, where it's a guaranteed 45 yards every time, is that not better than hitting it 65 and it come back, 35? Like,
Right.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like you have to find that nice balance. And of course, like the further you go with the punt, the more hang time required to get everybody downfield. And so I guess over the summer, my thing has just been, all right, like I know I can go further with my punts, but I want to match that hang time with it. And so that's something where I feel I'm excited for this year, where it's like I feel like I can go a little further and get that hang time
And still have the hang time.
Yeah.
All while rolling out.
Yes.
How much time do you think that buys you over maybe a traditional punter who's back in the pocket protected?
Yeah. So I guess looking at like breaking down the time, if you're anything over 2 seconds for a pocket in terms of the whole operation, snap to hold to kick, anything over that, you're probably looking at maybe getting blocked.
Yeah.
Whereas with a rollout, you're at like 2-3. So there's 0.3 extra seconds that I don't need to put on that hang time to get everybody down there. And the other thing is as well, it changes the block point, right? So if I roll out, it makes it really hard to rush because I can kick left foot, I can kick right foot, I can roll wider, I can roll linear, I can hold onto it if you don't rush it. Whereas with a spiral, it's very hard to catch, look up, and then go back and kick. No one does that, right? It's not a healthy thing to do because you run the risk of getting blocked because it happens so fast. So there's a lot of like details in it that is very like I guess nuanced. But there's a reason why I think there's so many rollout teams in the country because it's you're susceptible to fakes. If you're the person rushing, which obviously we saw with Baylor, and yeah, it makes it fun. And also for me, like it's a kick I've grown up doing for 20 years. So it's like there's a comfortability and a reliability factor there. Would I love to sit in the pocket and hit 5-0 spirals and bang them? Of course, but does that help the team? Is it as reliable? Probably not.
Right.
So
talk us through, because obviously if you're rushing upfield and you roll past, you've got a numbers advantage at that point. You got people behind you, probably blockers in front of you. What happened in Baylor? Is there something I saw on film you knew that was going to be an option against that team, or is it something you're looking for every week? Kind of talk us through that prep for that return.
Yeah. So that particular fake that we had installed was installed for every single game, but it was a particular look that we were looking for where we wanted to have a certain look at the rush. And if we were given that, then it was on. And what's funny about that is, so we ran out with that in play. So that's the number one. So Pop will call it on the sideline. We'll go out. That's the play we're doing unless it doesn't work. And then we'll just punt the football and it's fine. But we ran out, and I remember we ran out, and I was standing there, and I'm like, oh, it's not going to be on. Like, Batty will check out of this. And Batty sort of looks at me and like gave me a wink. He's like, no, I'm still doing it. And I said to Batty, I'm like, bro, let's just run it. Like, because, I'll back my speed in, and I know those guys are going to block for their lives. And as soon as I caught it, I just felt really comfortable. Like, I like running with the football. It's very normal for me. And finding the gaps and everything is sort of an innate thing from my background with Aussie rules. And I said to Batty, I'm like, as long as the snap's good and you guys block, we'll get it. Like, because if I have to run through somebody to get the first down, I got no problem doing it. Like, I'll give it everything I can to do it. Obviously, I went with the slide in the end because I knew I had the yards. And it's like, if I try and take on a blocker when I've already got the first down,
likely
it's just
to get
stupid
hurt.
at that point. So yeah, it was a fun play. And Batty was like probably my closest friend on the team last year. And so it was like, we always spoke about, I remember on the bus home, he was like, bro, I was going to check out of it. And then I thought, nah, screw it. We're running it. And I'm like, I like that, and Pop on the sideline was just like, no, they got to check out of it. And we didn't. And, so we got it. But it's one of those things where it's like, you got to get it at that point.
And Batty was on your right-hand side. And if I'm remembering right, and is the one who kind of freed you on the corner.
Yes.
Helped you get around. So his block, at the end of the day, he was betting on himself of like, hey, I'll get you around this corner.
Yeah. What's sweet as well is like, I've watched that fake so many times, and not even for me and what I did, but just watching what everyone did, and everyone was so assignment sound. It's really, for the fans out there that want to slow it down, if you just watch everyone's block, like Batty laid out someone, Bruce looked
and,
like...
And didn't lose his feet, right? He kept going with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so...
He was trailing you, but he pancaked a dude and then kept following.
Yeah, and even Dalton, like, the snap was a little high, but to his credit, he blocked so much that guy could have probably got to me in the end if Dalton didn't do his block assignment correct. And so it's just a fun play. It's fun for the fans to see, but it's also a really game-changing play. But it's fun for me being the punter because I feel like I'm a football player for once. Like I can actually go in and do what these guys do and run the ball.
It's not like you're afraid of contact.
No.
Like
for sure.
talk about that growing up playing Aussie rules football, which is supposedly very different from rugby, I guess. Maybe tell us about Aussie rules football because I don't know a whole lot, but it's a physical sport. I know that.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because this goes back to why I wear my shorts the way I do. But anyway, that's a separate thing. But Aussie rules it's a very free flowing sport. There's 4 quarters that are 30 minutes, but it's nonstop. So it's a lot of running involved. No pads, no helmet, no nothing, which for me is a lot more fun. Just because obviously you're free, I don't have to worry about all these pads. And I remember I got to BYU and I said to Joshy, our equipment guy, I'm like, mate, like I don't really want to have pads at all. So just give me the smallest pad you've got. Give me like the most minimal amount of anything, because it's easier to punt when you can just be free, right? And the shorts I used to wear in Aussie rules were like really high and
going
loose.
John Stockton shorts here.
Yeah, pretty much, just like wearing boxes basically. And so I played that for a long time, and it's a lot of contact, a lot of tackling, and my role was I was an inside midfielder, so it's quite a physical position. But yeah, that kicking is very similar to what we do with the with the rollout stuff that we do. So yeah, it's just good fun. I have to go watch it one time. For sure.
Yeah, dude. So in hindsight, you slid, but their turf is nasty. Did you get a rash on that?
Yeah, I still got a scar on it.
You still do.
If you can see it like there.
Oh yeah, dude, that's wild.
Yeah, so I remember I came off and obviously the adrenaline was pumping through and I'm like, oh, that was sweet. Like, let's run another fake, And I looked down at my leg. I'm like, oh, my leg's like pretty sore. And it was just completely blood. Like, and I remember I was in the shower post game and one of the boys came in. They're like, oh, dude, you got to go out and like do a podcast. And I'm like, oh, thank God I don't want to be in the shower because it was just hurting so bad, But it's just funny. Like the boys like, oh, you should have worn like tights or whatever. I'm like, I'm not wearing tights. Like, like I wear shorts. Like, I don't know. It just reminded me of like Aussie rules and like, yeah, it's just growing up wearing shorts, or I guess pants, you want to call them.
Yeah.
And of course I never knew that we were going to like do that fake really, because we always install it and we always have it there. But as you know, I mean, that was 5 games in and we still hadn't done it yet. Yeah. So I was like, we probably won't do it for a little bit. And then of course, I ripped my leg up and it's good, but whatever, we got it. So it was fun.
Yeah. But it's always an option there really if you're rolling out and they ignore that.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's like, without getting too much into it, that if it's I have the option that if I see that there's nothing, I'm gonna go. Because it's like, as much as I love punting and I love, I guess, flipping the field, if I can get us a first down, then I'm gonna get us a first down. Now it's one of those things where you have to be careful because if you don't get it, and the onus is on me to make that decision, that if I'm rolling and I see nothing, I got to go. But if I don't get it, then of course the blame is 100% on me, which is it should be. But hey, if I think I can get it, I'm gonna go for it. So why not?
Yeah, gamble a little bit.
Yeah,
right, K-pop. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's it.
So, dude, talking about K-pop, tell us about him and his role he played in getting you here to BYU. Because you're telling me before you didn't necessarily know who was offering you when you first got offered. Could we talk us through that whole thing?
Yeah, so it was actually, I think Memorial Day. Is that in July, June? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, June. May. End of May.
I don't know, around then. And yeah, so I was well and truly had been in the portal for a little bit at that point. And yeah, my coaches back home, hit me up and were like, obviously they're in Australia and I was in the US in Cleveland at the time. And they're like, oh, Brigham Young's interested. I'm like, what is Brigham? I ain't going. No, I don't even know what that is. I've never even heard of that. But of course I knew what BYU was, but I didn't know that was, abbreviated term or whatever. So I'm like, nah. And my coaches were like, mate, what? Like, no, like look it up. And I looked up and I'm like, oh, it's BYU. I'm like, oh, yeah, wow. Like what an opportunity, But of course at the time I didn't really want to sit out that season. And I had a couple of offers to go somewhere else that I was sort of looking at and spoke to Pop and I knew instantly that he had his mindset about like the schematics of what we could do and effectively use me. And I was just like, wow, this seems like a place that I could really flourish. And, yeah, I've loved it ever since. The people, everything has just been phenomenal. And he was a huge, huge impact and I guess played a huge role in getting me there. And yeah, I instantly fell in love with the way that they viewed special teams because it was like, hey, we really care about special teams. We think it can be an effective weapon, help us win. And of course, coaches say that, but then they kind of like, you get there and they're like, all right, you're a punter. We need to focus on everyone else. We got you here now, so don't worry about it. No, it wasn't like that. It was exactly what they said it would be when they were recruiting me, which I thought was sweet. They're true to their word. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we were lucky enough to sort of show the fans a little bit of, I guess, what we can do on a special teams front. So
I think we had the best special teams last year that BYU's probably ever had. Would you guys agree with that? You guys have watched it for almost as long as I have. Kev?
For sure. I mean, best field goal kicker in the country on top of great field position with the punting, and then also the return game.
The return game was wild.
Nothing BYU's ever had before.
No, we would go decades without returning a kick or a punt for a touchdown. That's not a joke, dude. Like, I remember it was like Adam Hine against Virginia or somebody like returned one, and we're like, it's been 7 years since we've had a return. Like, 7 years? Like, what the heck? So, and then to have multiple this year, go Wyoming, Utah, and then Parker had obviously Kansas State and Colorado. I might be forgetting even. Like, there was almost half a dozen in a year.
Well, what's funny about Colorado, if you don't mind, I can tell you about it. But I remember going up to Parker before the game, and I knew Mark very well, their punter, because we came through the same program. A lot of the stuff he did from the pocket was kind of like a poison ball where the ball spins a little bit weird, like an Aussie from the pocket, but it kind of moves a little bit weird in the air. But Parker had seen that many times because I'd given it to him. I said, hey, you might see this in the air, and when it comes, like most returners would just be like, Peter, whatever. And I said, but dude, catch it and go. Like, they're not going to expect you to read the ball flight as well as you will. And I went up to him before the game. I said, dude, if he does that kick from the pocket, I was like, just be ready to probably hook left and you'll be on. And I remember he lined up and I'm like, he's going to do this kick. And he hit it from the right hash to the left side. He hit a good punt. But at that point, I'm like, dude, if Parker catches this, he's gone, And he caught it and ran it to the house. And I went to Parker. I'm like, I told you, And so, yeah. And the thing is, he just got so good at being able to read the flight. Obviously the Kansas State one was one of those ones where it was kind of like
crazy,
crazy, and I guess a little lucky in some respects. But that Colorado one was all him, because even the way he caught it was so aggressive. Catches it here, moves, goes. Yeah, so it was really cool with Parker to be able to like throw him all sorts of punts in the off season, so that when he got in season he could go and do his thing. Because we all know how good of an athlete he is, right? But,
absolutely.
But it starts with the catch, and if you're not used to that sort of, different types of punts. Some returners are just like, what? And they just leave it, because they don't want to risk it. And Parker was just like, nah, catch everything and we'll go.
Dude, that's awesome. I felt like for Keelan and Parker all year long, it was pretty much blocked up to perfection.
Mm-hmm.
You guys spent a lot of time on those units. And I guess you're probably not directly on the kick return, punt return units, but you're in those meetings, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
They spend a lot of time working on that. They try and get the best athletes for that, or is it guys who are trying to prove themselves, or what do you think?
Yeah. Well, what's really cool with K-pop is that he leans on Coach Hill a lot, because Coach Hill has a phenomenal amount of experience with special teams, with Utah, etc. And he worked with Tom Hackett, who is
Utah's punter, right?
Yeah, probably the best rollout punter ever. And so a lot of the stuff that we did schematically was originating from that sort of thing with Hackett, and that was really cool to be able to, like, I guess, draw parallels with that sort of scheme. But yeah, like a lot of the times, like Coach Hill would come into special teams meetings and team meetings and be like, hey, you guys want to be on my defense, you got to play special teams. You have to play in any of them. And if you don't, I don't care who you are, you won't play. So, I mean, I was telling you earlier, I had Jack Kelly, Glasgow, Batty, like all these guys who are, phenomenal, not only starters, but probably our best players. And yeah, I mean, without them on the punt team, like, it's probably not as effective, because those dudes were, it's not like that they're just good athletes getting downfield, but the way that they block, the technique and everything, like they actually put in effort to get good at that. And that's, I think, what probably separated our special teams over maybe other special teams in the country, is that we had guys that were our best players playing on special teams. And, and that was originated probably from Coach Hill, and then obviously through Pop too.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I think that shows also that the team is willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have guys who are like, well, I'm going to play in the NFL. Like, I don't want to risk an injury blocking. Like, nope, they're all in. They want to win.
Yeah. And of course, that's, maybe that can potentially bleed into the thoughts of some of those players. But Coach Hill's like, well, you can't make the NFL if you don't play on my defense.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and you can't play on my defense if you don't play special teams. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, all right, well, I got to buy in. And if I don't, then I'm probably not going to see the field.
Right.
So it's cool that they do that, and it should do that. If you want to be an elite, football team across the board, you need to be good everywhere. And I feel like that we're starting to sort of get to that point, which is really cool.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, Keelan it hurts my heart, bro, because Keelan and I were pretty close.
Yeah,
And
Keelan was my boy as well. I loved him. Yeah,
it's hard not to love Keelan.
yeah.
I still love him. He
Yeah.
left me, dude. He left me for a prettier, shinier girl, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but I still love him, man. I can't just not love the guy.
Yeah.
But with him kind of stepping away, do you think we're still going to have the same excellence because it comes top down from K-pop, J-Hill to us?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that kind of your thoughts on that?
100%. Yeah. Because Keelan obviously was phenomenal in his role.
Mhm.
And I mean, obviously the stats speak for themselves, but I do think a large part of his success as well was from the scheme, because at the end of the day, those openings don't open without blocking and guys being assignment sound. And as phenomenal as Keelan was, it's not like we have athletes that are worse than him in terms of athletically, being able to move the ball and catch. So it's like, in theory, well, if you have someone who can catch the ball as well and who can run as good, why can't it be as good? You know, in theory. So I have no doubt. I'm not too worried about it. And that's taking nothing away from Key. Like,
No,
I mean,
we do. We love.
It was
Keelan.
phenomenal. You know, but yeah, and I'm sure he'll do phenomenal things in Miami too. But yeah, I have no doubt that it's just kind of like next man up.
Right.
Has to be. You know?
Dude, since you're my special go-to guy now, I'm gonna text you every week and get updates from you now.
Yeah, come on. Sounds good.
Who you think returns kicks? Because I know they've had Cabella do it a little bit in practice. I know they've had Parker's done it. I'm trying to think of who else we've heard has done it. Who do you think? What's your guess? Tiger has experience at Stanford too. I don't know.
So I've done a little bit of work with Tiger as well in the off season with punting, like catching ball. I mean, only a short amount of time. He just got it, but he definitely can catch very, very well. Like he reads the ball flight very well. I think the obvious choice is probably Parker, just because he does punts.
Yeah.
You know. But I think Cody's a chance too.
Mm-hmm.
Cody is very, very fast, very, very fast laterally. Because there's a difference between being
straight line speed,
which is good in the end when you're trying to get in the end zone, obviously. But that initial burst from the side, being able to like dig your foot in and move to the side, I think Cody is probably one of the fastest guys we have in that instance.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't hugely surprise me if he had a shot, but as long as he doesn't get off my punt team, then you know, because Cody's my voice as well. So yeah, so I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I think it's Parker, Tiger, Cody, Cabella, any one of those four probably are the top four, I would guess.
I feel like I've been on the Cabella bandwagon, hyping up Cabella for over a year. Would you guys agree? On here, on the Discord, on Twitter, I still feel like fans have no idea how good of an athlete he is. And I haven't even watched him return a single kick. I'm more talking about playing nickel, playing defense and that. But I think he's majorly slept on, and fans are gonna.
He's very good. We have about 3 to 4 guys in offense and defense that guys know nothing about, that I'm just like, wait till they are on the field, because those dudes, I mean, and that's credit to the strength coaches too. I mean, the way that all the boys are moving is just like leaps and bounds beyond from what it was last year even, you know.
You really feel like we've built upon that foundation.
100%. Yeah, and you have to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we've had 1 year with the strength coaches where it's like, all right, well, we were good athletically, but now the coaches have a sample size where they can be like, all right, well, this is the base. We need to elevate. And I think you can ask any of the boys that you've probably had on here. Summer was rough. Like they really got after us. Even us specs. I mean, I'm just like, call me August 30th, 4th down normally. Like I'll be there. But nope, we were there doing summer as well. Like, and it was tough. And it's great because, you know, I think that it gives us the best chance to be able to get where we want to get, which is obviously the national championship. So yeah, it's going to be cool for everyone to sort of see glimpses in fall camp. And then, I think talent-wise, we're probably even a little ahead of what we were last year. But it's just, once again, what made us so good last year was our team unit. And, you know, Batty was a big driver of that. So we just probably need to emulate that. And I think we can do it, you know, anything we want to do really as a team.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of guys who can step into that leadership role for Batty. I know Keanu has been vocal, even though he's kind of new here.
Keanu was very vocal.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, Keanu's a legend. He's like, dude, he just doesn't stop yapping. Like, I don't know if you saw his mic'd up thing.
Yeah.
He's just constantly yapping. I'm like, dude, this guy just doesn't shut up, to be honest. Like, and it's great, but it's honestly, like, it's awesome. And it's funny, like, us specs, we lift with the skills typically, but we were lifting with the bigs for a week, and he just constantly, 6 a.m. in the morning, just yapping. I'm like, dude, do you even, like, sleep? Like, you know, and so he's definitely going to be a big leader and probably fill in that Batty's role. And I think he knew it too. Like, I think maybe deep down he was like, you know what, Batty was this, I kind of need to step up and do this. And, you know, he has the runs on the board, and clearly he's, you know, phenomenal leader. It's like, dude, just take the mantle. Like, go and do it, you know. And so I'm excited to see what he does on the field, but also
Yeah.
just like keeping all the boys together. And yeah, we got a good group. It's
Do you
awesome.
think there's a vocal guy on offense?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you always hear from, you know, the quarterbacks are always talking as well, and
Yeah.
the receivers. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like one specific guy, like we don't really lift with the offense, so it's
Yeah.
kind of, I haven't had that experience of being able to, because we obviously lift with the defense typically, and so, you know, I expect obviously with the unique quarterback situation, those boys are obviously have taken upon themselves to kind of be like, all right, we need to, like, you guys need to get around us, like we're gonna, you know, do what we can for the team, you know, whether that's, you know, Bear or Trayson or McKay, like it's just any one of those guys are. It's good. I feel like they've taken the role of being like, all right, we need to step up and be a little louder. And yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool
Yeah.
to see just the evolution of just even everyone just kind of, you know, growing in that aspect. So
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, let's get to the really, really important questions. Unless you guys got anything. Okay, this is gonna get serious. Paul Hogan or Steve Irwin? Who's a bigger Aussie legend in Australia?
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin, hands down.
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee's too old.
Yeah, nah, Steve Irwin, I think. I think it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but Steve Irwin was just everywhere. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the Crocodile Dundee is like super famous. That's probably a more famous like one-liners and things like that. But overall, like Steve Irwin is probably the embodiment of Australia, at least, I
And he
think.
kind of left a little bit of a legacy too, I feel like, behind there too.
Yeah.
With some of the work he did. Where one's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. They're fun movies.
Yeah.
That, but like he kind of left like a legacy too. And his just like his son is
Yeah.
kind of carrying that on as well.
Yeah. He transcended, I guess, the way that people are with animals and things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna go meat pies or pavlova. You got
It's funny. I make a mean pav.
Do you?
Oh yeah. Anyway, that's irrelevant. But
No, I don't think it is.
yeah, I think meat pie.
Meat pie.
Oh, yeah.
What's the go-to in the meat pie? What's your combo?
So you know what's funny? My wife actually makes a phenomenal meat pie.
Really?
Yeah, like full pastry, everything. But what's a unique thing to put in it is Vegemite.
Oh, okay.
Put Vegemite in the beef, only a little bit, and yeah, it adds to the flavor. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Okay.
So meat pie, you can't go wrong. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Pavs are good, but like I don't know, I kind of have to be in the mood to eat it, and it takes
Right.
a long time to cook. And meat pie,
Meat pie.
yeah.
Favorite candy from Australia? I'll tell you mine, but like you can only really get in Australia. What do you miss?
Favorite candy in Australia? I was just there, so I feel like I should.
You
I
should know.
You know what? I don't even know if it's sour straps.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Like you go to the footy, like the local footy, Aussie rules, at the canteen, and they got like a bag of sour straps, you know, $1.50, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's probably like $8 in Australia now with all the inflation and everything. But yeah, $1.50, and yeah, that's probably the go-to. I like a bit of sour strap.
Dude, are you a fan of the peanut slab?
No, I don't even know what that- What
it's
is
like
that?
it's like the symphony bar of Australia. Have you had a symphony bar?
No.
It's like really creamy, rich chocolate with some nuts in it.
Oh, like a Boost. We have like a Boost.
Boost.
Like a Boost chocolate.
Maybe it's like, oh, I've had Boost though. Boost
Yeah.
is like really kind of flaky and nice,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah, they are good.
But the peanut slab is literally, it's like a brick of chocolate with peanuts in it.
Yeah, right.
Bro, you never had one of those?
It's not a Snickers, is it?
No.
Oh,
It's its
okay.
own thing. It's its own.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I'm
Dude.
feeling really uncultured right now.
I know. I feel let down a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. Gee whiz.
No. So you were from Melbourne.
hmm
You and your wife lived in Sydney for a bit. Is that
Yeah, during
accurate?
COVID. Yeah.
Okay.
We were in Sydney for a little bit.
Have you spent most of your time in Melbourne? Have you been all around the country? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Queensland, which is
Okay.
north of Melbourne, and so but I grew up in Melbourne and lived there my whole life, from 2 onwards to 22. So I was there pretty much my whole life, and then yeah, so Hallie and I during COVID went to Sydney just because of the lockdowns was quite harsh in Melbourne, and you know, obviously we wanted to get out and just have as much freedom as possible, right? And so Sydney was a little bit more loose on their laws of what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
So we lived there during COVID, and then this was kind of the time where I was like, well, we want to end up in the US, but like, how's that going to happen? Like, I'd been working for my dad's pool business for 8 years in sales, and so my plan was to just do sales in the US, and I obviously found out pretty quick that was kind of difficult without not only a green card, but also not having a degree and things like that. Because obviously out of high school, I was pursuing AFL as a professional sport.
Yeah.
And so my mind wasn't really on university, and that's not as common back home to go finish high school and go straight to university. Most guys go and work. And so, yeah, we were living in Sydney, and I was like, all right, well, I need a way into the US. And then I found a guy who played at Maryland and UCLA, who played semi-professional Aussie ball for the team that I played for.
Mm.
And he was like, it was like a Facebook post that said, this is a long story, by the way.
No,
but it gets to a good.
This is what the people want to hear.
Yeah, and it was a Facebook post that said, not bad for a guy that never graduated high school, and it was him playing football. I'm like, what is this? I didn't even watch American football, didn't know anything about it.
Mm.
I knew I could kick a ball, but I was like, and so I looked into it, and he came through Pro Kick, which is a program I came from, which most punters that are over here from Australia come from the same Nathan Chapman, John Smith program. So I rang them up, did a tryout, and then I spent about 6 months in the program before I was recruited by Pitt, and that was done, through FaceTime, hours of tape, things like that. And then a year later, I went to Pitt, and then I was at Pitt for a year, and then transferred to BYU. So that's kind of like the quick way of how it all happened. But it was cool. It was a cool journey because there was 14 of us that got recruited around the same time. One of my best buds went to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
One of them went to Richmond. All these guys got recruited to all these different schools, and we're all kind of pursuing the same dream.
Yeah.
But a different dream in a way, because there's only one punter. So it's not like you can all go to Georgia or all go to Richmond or all go wherever. So it was we're all chasing the same goal. But it was kind of our individual thing because we obviously don't know where you're going to end up. And so, yeah, it was cool.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So you legitimately, growing up in Australia, you never watched the Super Bowl.
No.
You never watched a football game.
I didn't even know what FBS was, FCS, POW or anything. I bought a ball from Rebel Sport, which is our Dick's Sporting Goods here. That was a composite, which I thought was a genuine NFL ball. And
it probably flew really good.
I was booting that thing day one. I'm like, I don't need Pro Kick, it's so naive, right? Of course, I didn't know anything. And then I turned up for my Pro Kick assessment. It was wet. We used
leather ball,
proper leather ball. And I'm like, dude, what? What is this? And obviously I was like, oh wow, this is going to be harder than I thought. And it was really difficult, initially, at least transitioning to the spiral. Because it's funny, I got recruited to Pitt solely through my spiral film, which is interesting because obviously we do the rollout stuff. But it's one of those things where it's kind of at least from American coaches' side, when they're initially recruiting Australians, it's kind of all right, well, we want a spiral punter. But if that doesn't work out, at least we have an insurance policy where they can roll out and be effective, whereas maybe in the US recruiting American punters, there's not that as much flexibility, I would say.
Right.
And so it's kind of, I think that's the thought process for a lot of teams that maybe recruit Australians back home is it's kind of well, at least we have a couple of options that we can do with this guy,
Yeah.
So
do you think it's easier to take a Aussie style kicker and teach him the spiral, or is it easier to take a spiral guy and teach him the rollout?
It's definitely easier to teach a rollout guy how to spiral.
Right.
Because there's less components. And it also depends on the age. For example, if I pull an American punter out of high school and try and teach him to roll out, it's going to take a while because it's a different drop. The timing's different. You're moving. A spiral is very robotic where it's you're in the box. You have 2 yards to 3 yards to move. The movement is the movement itself is actually, it's mechanical and it's actually a very simple movement because it's very linear. You're up, straight down, kick up and through it. Whereas a rollout, you need to know how far to roll out. The drop's different. The grip, it's, and I think that's probably been proven with how many Australians have come over here because most of the guys that come over here learn how to spiral in 6 to 12 months.
Right.
Competently, where they can do it over and over and over again consistently. Whereas, teaching the rollout stuff, you don't see many American high school kids getting recruited through their rollout film, for example.
Very few. We had a kid when I coached who was our number one wide receiver and our punter, and he could roll out or pocket, and he 100% got recruited because he could roll. Because like you said, this guy can play wide receiver. He can be a rugby style guy if we need him to do it that way, or he can just be a straight up punter and boot it.
And it's not that one's inherently better than the other.
Right.
It's just more about what a team and what a coordinator deems as the most effective and what they want,
Yeah.
And so if a coordinator sees something that's effective and that's good, they're creatures of habit and trust, where it's oh, I trust that. You can hit 10 out of 10 rollouts. We're going to go with that. Because even the best spiral guys, Ryan probably being the best spiral guy that you've seen, phenomenal. they're going to have a miss hit every now and then. Whereas a rollout, I feel like the miss hit gets alleviated a little bit because it's hard to quantify that amount of time spent doing that. Like I've been doing that kick since I was 4, you know, so it's like, it's a long, long time where it's the muscle memory is really ingrained where it's, you know, but yeah, once again, some teams don't do that and that's fantastic and it's super effective for them, but it's just kind of like, yeah, it's different philosophy really.
Dude, you took a punter, a high school punter, Fuller's return missionary. You took a punter here at BYU, and in your free time, in your spare time, you taught him the rugby or Australian style kick, the rollout kick.
Yep.
Dude, tell me about that. Because that sounds like he had to be a really diligent student to pick
really
that up.
Diligent. Credit to Fuller if you're listening. He is phenomenal talent. And what makes him talented is the fact that he's coachable and he's willing to listen. And I said to him, I'm like, look, you've never rolled out before. I have what I would say would be a lot of experience doing it. If you're willing to just listen and just listen and listen and listen and take in everything and just be like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just going to do what you say. I'm telling you, it'll eventually click. And, you know, I would put him against any Aussie with rolling out. He can do it and do it well. So shout out to you, Fuller, if you're listening. But yeah, he's very, very good. And yeah, I think that's sort of one of the reasons why he got himself on the team. And, you know, he's still obviously very raw and there's lots of things to learn as a young kid, of course, like coming into a new system and everything. But in terms of the actual ability to execute the kick, he's really, credit to him, he's picked it up and he really spent the time to, you know, get it sorted. So I honestly, when I was teaching him, I was like, there's no way he'll get this within 3 to 6 months to 2 years. It takes like a long time. And every time I saw him, you know, from like fall camp and then 3 weeks later I saw him and then saw him again, I'm like, wow, this kid is just getting better and better and better. And I think that's truly why he got himself on the roster, to be honest with you. So,
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Good testament to him. Good testament to you to be a good like coach. Because sometimes you be really, really good at something and you don't even know why it works for you, or you can't break it down into steps, easy steps to explain to someone else, right? But there's a big difference between a good player and a good coach, and it sounds like you're both.
Yeah, and I just think that like Fuller's made me better. I mean, my film from 6 months ago to now, and the way that I'm punting is just entirely, I just look like a different punter, to be honest. And I think that was largely in part being able to help Fuller and then him make me better because I had to elevate my game again, you know. And so the hang time particularly the hang time grew probably 0.03 to 0.04, you know, over that period, which is huge on a rollout, right? But the distance isn't getting sacrificed. And I think that was me being like, all right, well, I've taught this kid who has a really strong leg how to do this. I need to now elevate and really be diligent in getting film and picking apart like, oh, wow, dude, you're really not good at this. You need to fix it. And so I think that's kind of elevated me to another level now. And you just have to. Like, if you want to be a good punter in this league, you need to just keep getting better and better and better. And
dude, it's so true. Coaching someone else will make you a better player. Even in your professional life when you get older, right? Like I go and I do corporate training now. I'm going to Boise later this week to train, and one of the things is they like, hey, we need you to get certified and we need you to train on like emotional intelligence. And I'm like, oh, dude, I was a football coach. I could be on a sideline, thousands of people upset, yelling, whatever, game on the line. I can make the right call every time. Like I know emotional intelligence. Then you go get trained in it and you start coaching other people and you're like, shoot, I suck at this. Yeah. Like there's a lot I could improve on. Like there's a lot of these things I didn't know. So it doesn't have to just be sports. Like everywhere in life, if you're in a position to coach or help others, it always makes you better.
Yeah. And it's just good. Like our spec room is, you know, and I even feel like Matthias, the other kicker who's a phenomenal kicker in his own right, has made Will better. You know, I don't like, I mean, Will went 2 years ago where in 2023 where he had a good year, but it was kind of like he can be better, to last year where he was, I mean, probably the best kicker in the country, right? Yeah. And I don't think that happens without having someone like Matthias pushing him. And also kind of like what I said with me going to mine next year, well, this year I should say, being next year from last year, is that you just have to be willing to kind of break things down and be like, okay, you're actually not good at this. You need to fix this. And I think that's where sometimes guys can run into trouble in any position where they're like, oh, I'm phenomenal. Like, we had a good year. Like, our punt team was pretty good. Like, no, like if you want to be an All-American, you got to start like training that way, right? And so that's kind of my approach been over the winter and summer is be like, all right, well, last year was good, but I think that we can be top 3 to 5 punt unit in the country for sure, with all those guys that, you know, do their jobs as well. Like, why not? So
Right. And I think it takes a lot of belief in yourself to have kind of the courage, like look at yourself and be like, you know what, I can get better. Because it's comfortable to be like, nah, I'm good. Like I don't need to get any better.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's good. And that's the other thing too. And you hit the nail on the head, but that's exactly the environment that Kalani, Hill, I mean, all the coaches, but Kalani, Hill, and Pop, at least for me in my position in our role in the team, has really invested in. And they're sort of like, dude, if we're just going to be content with 11-2, then that's great. We'll just go 9-3, 10-2, 11-2 next year. But it's like, well, if we want to be where Ohio State was, we need to obviously elevate. And so it's been really cool to just see everyone just be like, dude, I need to fix this. I need to do this. Like, our ego complex on our team is so towards just getting better. Whereas I feel like some guys are like, nah, I'm good. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Right. You think that's top down? You think that's Kalani's kind of approach to life, is like that love and learn he talks about, that humility is a weapon. You think that all comes from him?
100%. Yeah. And Kalani's very unique in the way that he coaches, in the sense that his philosophy obviously really, really works at BYU. I mean, in theory, I wish it could work everywhere, but it probably wouldn't, just with the faith-based institution and like the things that he preaches. There has to be a certain group of blokes that are like willing to like buy into that.
Yeah.
And so he really knows how to get to the players where he's like, hey, like, you want to be a better son, a better husband, a better man, like, and then that will make you a better football player.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that it's been pretty obvious with just the progression of the team, you know, so.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got one more slippery question. We'll see if you can sneak out of this one or not. I don't know. But last year we had the Will Ferrin fake field goal against UCF, where he could have thrown a pass to old Ethan Erickson there, but he decided not to. I was talking to my guys, and they're like, "Oh, there's a lot of really cool fakes, fake punts, fake field goals, like a lot of really cool ones." You think we'll get a few of those? You think we'll get a treat this year and get to see some new ones?
100%.
Yeah. How many do you think there are? If you had to guess, like how many different fakes you think K-pop has up his sleeve?
Between like field goal and punt?
Yeah.
Probably like 5 to 8 different types.
It's pretty good.
You know, and I mean, there's more that we try, but it's kind of one of those things where, and I speak to before about getting better as a punter and a kicker, like, you know, in the specs room, the coaches are the same, where like Pop's looking at different teams and going, wow, this fake was executed. How can I make it better?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to tell you where he got the fake ideas from.
Well, don't hurt the team.
Yeah,
we want some deets, you know.
Like, he'll look at other teams execute fakes and be like, well, we can do this. We can do it better, you know. And so it's just credit to him. Like, even the UCF fake, like, he came to us on a Monday where we have like a walkthrough, and he came up to me and Will, and he's like, hey, I want to try this fake. You need to do this. I'm like, you want me to put the ball through my legs? Like, why are you just telling me this now? Like, I could have at least practiced on the weekend after the game, on like yesterday maybe. And he was like, no, we'll just try it. I'm like, oh, righto. So we go out and we try it. It was the worst thing ever. Like, I'm like, this is just not going to work. I mean, this is so silly. Like, this is just beyond what it needs to be. You know, I'm like, why don't we just like throw it over the head or do this? And they were adamant about the way it needed to be because of how Coach Hill had done it when he was a specs coordinator.
Okay.
And then obviously we go out and execute it beautifully. And I'm like, all right.
Dude, I thought you had practiced that all off season. As fluid as that went.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was just something you guys do every day, like as the last part of practice or something.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we have punt period, field goal period, and then maybe like punt return, kick return period, whatever, during fall camp and spring ball and the season, whatever it is. And after that, we're pretty much done. And so it's kind of like the coaches give us the freedom and the trust for us to go get ourselves better. And so Will and I were like, dude, let's just practice a fake. Like, we've got all the time in the world. Like, we'll get it, you know? And so I remember we kind of slipped away from it for a little while. And then I went up to Pop. I'm like, dude, we've done this 12 times in a row. Like, let us just do it once in field goal period and see what you think. And we nailed it. And he's like, we're going to do this next game. So it was like one of those things where it was like we called it in a couple games and then we checked out of it. And I just remember being down there. Like, we called in to do it for that UCF game.
Yeah.
And of course, Will and I were like, oh no, like, this could be really bad. And so I'm down there and I'm checking to see if we can check out of it. I'm like, please be able to check out of it. Please be able to check out of it, you know, because obviously I just want Will to bang through the 3.
Yeah.
And I get down there and I look back at Will. I'm like, it's on. And Will's just sitting there like shaking. He's like, oh, all right, you know. And then so we call it, and you know, it's people always say you should have thrown it, but it's like the objective of the fake is to get the first down. It's not to get the touchdown. If you can get the touchdown, great. But we don't want an interception and they run it back. I mean, it just defeats the whole purpose of the thing, right?
Dude, also, like I talk to my quarterbacks about 2-point conversions or things where you have like a run pass option.
Yeah.
It's like, look, if you can run it in or throw it in, I know you're a quarterback, you want to throw it in, but there's always a chance he drops it.
Yeah.
And there's a less likely of a chance that you just walk in with the football. So if you've got that option, you always take it with your legs.
Yeah.
So
it was just so funny seeing how fired up. Like I'm sure you saw how fired up Kalani was when he got that. And it's just fun.
Dude, I was at that game. You did that right in front of me, like right in front of my seats. We were going bananas.
And it was one of those things where I told you earlier about the Utah kick where I put it down and I knew he hit it. As soon as I threw that ball through, I knew it was good because I can like feel when I was overthrowing it or underthrowing it.
Yeah. And
Will kind of like unnecessarily like caught it one hand just to make it look pretty. I'm like, dude,
Will being the drama guy.
Like we were doing a podcast on the Wednesday, like going through the fake with a few of the guys, Spencer and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, it was a little bit further than it needed to be." I'm like, "Mate, like
it's perfect.
That's a cop out." I'm like, "That was beautiful." Like you just wanted to make it look a bit better, you know. So it's good fun, and it's just like, and that's credit to Will as well. Like we just have a very like fun group, and there's a lot of trust between him and I. So,
dude, that's awesome. Yeah. All right, so let's kind of end with this. What is you put a lot of work in the off season? You try to improve your craft. Mm-hmm. What is kind of your personal goal going into this year?
Yeah, so it's always like, I feel like it sounds always a bit bad when a spec talks about personal goals because we're such a team-orientated role, particularly as a punter. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying to Will like over the summer, like I want to be an All-American, and I think that I genuinely believe with not only like the punting that we've been doing over the summer, but also the guys around me. I think they give me such an amazing opportunity to be able to go out and perform. You know, like people don't see what Glasgow does and what Kelly do, like what those guys do to allow me to go do my job. And I feel like that if I can go out and perform the way that I should, based on the way that I've just been punting, I feel like there's no question that we can be probably one of the best punt units in the country this year. And so we'll see.
Okay. Final thoughts from you. Anything you want to tell Cougar Nation? Anything they should look forward to or know going into the year? What you got?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say, like, you know, coming from Australia, the support through Cougar Nation and BYU has been phenomenal. I feel very loved and very lucky to be able to just come on and even, you know, speak to you today. And I'm excited for you guys to see all the different fakes and different things we have lined up. And it should be a fun year.
Okay.
Go Cougs.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. I've got a gift for you before you go. There's some defense drinks right there for you. It's a collagen-based sports drink. It's supposed to help with preventing injuries and your recovery as well. So there's some electrolyte that's got the gold on it and some pre-workout that's got the green. Pick whatever one you'd like there. And appreciate you coming on, man.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been awesome.
All right. Cougar Nation, that's what we got for you. If you want more of this stuff, you can go to CougConnect.com, become a subscriber, join our Discord, get even more insider info, have more opportunities to connect with the players. Appreciate you guys all supporting. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.